Thank you, everybody, once again. And let's get to the topic that you've all been waiting for, which is about publicity and how can we gain free publicity and positive publicity. Now, of course, we all know in today's day and age, even if you have a great product or a service or a message, it's not enough that people would know about you. So, of course, publicity becomes the key. Publicity gives you credibility, it gives you profile, it gives you authority. But the problem is that a lot of us spend a lot of money in trying to do that and in trying to learn that without actually getting anywhere. But if it's done correctly, we can build fame, fortune, freedom, legacy to be able to inspire others and make a bigger difference in the world. And of course, who else to talk about this than the media queen of Australia, Aldwyn Altuney, who has been in this industry for 37 years. She's also a TV host, a speaker, a photojournalist, and author of multiple international best-selling books. And of course, she's also the co-author of My Voice second volume. And in fact, for today's event, Aldwyn has also graciously offered for one person to win a free ticket to her masterclass, a ticket that's worth about $97. And it is an action-packed, content-packed free publicity secrets masterclass, which is aimed to give you strategies and tactics that you can use in your business or for yourself. And the event is happening on Wednesday, on the 18th of August, from 4 to 8 p.m. Singapore, Hong Kong time. And for Australia, it would be p.m. Australia time. And so of course we're going to be announcing the winner at the end of the event, so hang on to it till then. Now, drum roll, it's time to introduce Aldwyn. Hello, Aldwyn, how are you? You can unmute yourself and do your hellos.
Hello, how are you?
Fabulous. It's so exciting to have you here today.
Oh, thank you so much for the invitation. It's fantastic to hear what everyone else is up to and what they're doing. It's fantastic to be in a room with such switched on people. So thank you so much for turning up, everyone, and I hope to make this time valuable for you. So I will share my screen, and we've got quite a lot to go through. So if you could just enable screen sharing there, if you haven't already. It just says disabled screen sharing at the moment.
Hold on.
And just
Worries.
enable that in a second.
Yeah, while Shika's getting that, I wanted to talk about this step-by-step method that you have put together. You've developed this on how people can gain $1 million worth of free publicity in mainstream media. Now, these numbers sound wow. But before we go to how, I want to know why. Like, why did you decide to work on this? How did this come up?
How did I start to get in the media?
Yeah, and how did you decide to actually develop this product or develop this knowledge that you're sharing with us today? Like, why did you decide that you wanted to do that and share it with people?
Yeah, great question there, Neera. Well, I actually started in the media at 10 years of age, believe it or not. I know I look about 25 now, but I actually was a top junior table tennis player at age 10. And I was first interviewed by the Manly Daily in Sydney, which was the local paper at the time. And that's kind of where my fascination in the media started. So I was actually on the other side of the camera. I've worked in many different facets of the media, but as a table tennis player, I was interviewed by the local paper, and then I was on Channel 7 in front of 2 million people at age 11. And I remember being in the studio in Sydney, and the TV host said to me, she looked at me and said, now just do not think about the 2 million people watching this right now. And there was a massive camera in the studio, and all I could think about as I looked at that camera was the 2 million people watching this right now. Right? So whatever you do if you're on camera, just don't think about the 2 million people watching, right? So and from there I ended up doing a radio show at age 13. I ended up working in the media. I've worked in TV, radio, and print media. now. And so when we say 37 years experience, I'm actually 47 now. And so the experience goes way back. And what I've always loved about the media is the power to create change through messages, through, you know, whether it's your business, whether it's a product or a service or a cause that you want to support. There's nothing quite like the power of the media to get cut through, particularly now where it's such a crowded marketplace, particularly online, right? So many people are launching courses and doing so much online that, you know, how do you be seen and heard? You know, and with things like with Facebook, you know, algorithms are changing all the time. They're showing your content to less and less people. So if you want to, you know, stand out and build your influence and authority and actually make a bigger difference in the world, then free publicity is absolutely gold when it comes to your marketing mix. And I can't stress this enough. A lot of people are not using this strategy. A lot of people are wasting money on Facebook ads and all sorts of other marketing and doing a spray and pray approach with their marketing and just not getting the cut through. And so free publicity is a way you can get the cut through once you know the strategies, which I will share with you today. So very excited about that. And we'll have hopefully some time for Q&A at the end. But I do have quite a lot to cover, so I'll whip through it as quick as I can.
Great. And Aldwyn, can we share the presentation later with everybody who's
absolutely
joined? Is that okay? Okay. So nobody
yes.
needs to take screenshots of photos. We will share it with you afterwards. And we're also recording this session, so you can always go back and listen to whatever Aldwyn's saying.
Yes, wonderful, fantastic.
Over to you.
So, thank you so much. Thank you, Nira. Thank you, Shika. So great to be here. So I'm going to talk today about how to gain positive free publicity. Now, you might have heard the saying, you know, if it bleeds, it leads, or bad news sells. You've probably heard these kinds of things, right? And, you know, for a lot of people and for a long time, this is the truth when it comes to the mainstream media. Okay, the thing is, though, is that, and the good news is there's actually now a whole lot of positive media out there. You're not going to see it generally in the mainstream media, but there's things now like the Good News Network, there's Sunny Skies News, there's 2 million podcasts now worldwide, and a lot of them positive and truth-based media out there. There's news.com.au has a good news section. There's a happy newspaper in the UK that went viral. Okay, so people are wanting more good news. And I'm really passionate about this topic, about inspiring more truth and good news, because I've personally had depression after years of watching negative news with my father. Every single night he would watch negative news. And every single night I would end up upset, angry, depressed, not knowing what to do about it. And for years I thought that's just how the world was. And then what ended up happening, my dad said anger is danger. And I internalized my anger for a long time, and that led to depression. And then since that, I've had 4 friends actually take their own lives by the age of 45. Now, there's about 1 million people a year worldwide who take their own lives. And that has been going up since COVID. And so now more than ever, it's important that we share more gratitude and good news. And there's many ways you can get publicity, and you can turn any negative out there into a positive. And so I'll show you some steps today on how to do that. Now, just imagine what would happen to you or your business, and feel free to share in the chat here. If you were interviewed on Sunrise or on a major TV show, wherever you are in the world, what would happen to you or your business, do you think, if you were interviewed tomorrow on, say, your biggest national television show, morning show tomorrow? What would happen? Or what if a major magazine interviewed you, did an article, so Women's Weekly or GQ for the men out there. GQ is one of the biggest men's magazines. What would happen to you or your business? And what if Oprah's office called you and asked if you could be available for a show? What do you think would happen then? Feel free to pop into the chat. What would happen? Well, what happened to Robert Kiyosaki, for those who know Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, in the year 2000, it was actually 27th of April, 2000, yes, Anna, exponential growth, absolutely. In April 2000, it was 3 years after the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad came out that Robert wrote in 1997. He appeared on Oprah, and at the end of the 1 hour show, Oprah turned to him and said, "Congratulations, Rich Dad, we've just sold you 1 million books." And at the time, he was making $5 US per book. So at the end of the 1 hour show, he went from the world's best kept secret, no one knew him like you might be feeling right now, to being an absolute superstar. And this is possible for you. It's all possible for you. Now, I am known as the media queen, firstly, because it's a lot easier to say than Aldwyn Altuney, right? The second reason is it's very important to have a good brand that represents what you do, particularly if you have an unusual name, okay? So media queen is really very tongue-in-cheek, actually. It's all about stepping up and stepping out with your message, no matter what your background. So no matter where you come from, no matter where what's your background, your personal story, or any of your history, it doesn't matter about any of that, you can still put yourself out there and feature in the media. So that's what that represents. And it's about having fun and, not taking yourself too seriously, because I'm definitely not that ugly, as a lot of people have said to me. So you need to have fun, celebrate your uniqueness. My big hair, my big smile is very unique and memorable. My nose is definitely not that big. So you must have fun with what you're doing, I suggest. And, what stops a lot of people from getting media is that they have a lot of fear. They're very scared to put themselves out there for multiple reasons. Firstly, we're not taught to do that. We're not taught to step up and speak up in life. And so it takes something if you're going to do that, right? It takes something. And you're going to have some backlash potentially, right? Now, we are in unprecedented times. Since COVID, content consumption has actually gone up 60% during COVID, which is huge. It's actually gone up even more. So now is a great time to be getting your message out there with the content that you produce. And thank you for your lovely comments in the chat. That's really nice. Yes, Shivani, you would have an unimaginable reach. Absolutely. Neera, a dream come true if you had media. And Neera says you're gorgeous. Thank you very much. I do appreciate that. And this is the thing, is that regardless of, what other people say about you, as they say, what someone else says about you is none of your business. And so it's important to love yourself just as you are, because, you are 1 in a billion just by being born. You beat about 1 billion swimmers to get to the finish line. So here's celebrating life, right? Making the most of every situation, even during COVID, right? There's a lot of negativity out there at the moment with some people, and other people, their businesses are absolutely booming, right? So what are you doing in today's day and age, in the current times? Are you focusing on the things that you can be grateful for right now? Or are you focusing on the dramas that you cannot control, right? Now, active social media users have actually passed 3.8 billion of the world's 7.8 billion population right now, and it's increasing all the time, right, by over 9%, or 321 million new users since 2019. So what we're seeing now is we have about half the world's population now are active social media users, which means what's happening is journalists are looking to social media every single day for story ideas. So there's lots of ways you can actually monetize your social media if you know what you're doing and you do it correctly, right? Massive opportunity. And that's a stat there from the Digital 2020 Global Overview Report. Now, we mentioned earlier, I have had 37 years of experience. I'll skip through this. I've already shared part of my story. I did do a Bachelor of Arts in Communications, majoring in media at the University of Canberra. So we did high distinctions in TV production, photojournalism. I edited the university newspaper while I was at uni. We had 30 contributors to that newspaper. We're putting a publication out every 2 weeks. We had a 24 to 48 page publication we put out. And what I loved about the free university press at the time, it was freedom of speech, pure freedom of speech back then. And I would write about things that angered me in society that I wanted to impact and make a change with, and I didn't know how. And I thought, well, if I just write a story about it, or just share my story, if I can just impact one person with this, if I can help shift one person's frame of mind around this, then it'll be worth putting that story out. And so some of the first stories I wrote for that paper was, I did one about duck shooting. Duck shooting was actually legal, and it's still parts of Australia this is happening, where people shoot ducks for fun. So I did an anti-duck shooting story. The headline was "Go and Get Ducked." Okay, it was very in-your-face press. I had another story on battery farming of chickens. I couldn't believe what happened when you buy cage eggs. It's actually supporting a very cruel way of treating the chickens, where in one A4 size paper you have 4 chickens on a slope and they don't live more than a few months. It's a very, very cruel practice. And so I always encourage people, if you are going to buy eggs, buy free-range eggs, don't support cage eggs. And in Australia, they say on the packaging that it's cage eggs. Some people, of course, don't buy eggs at all, and that's a whole other thing. But, it's just about raising awareness about certain things. The other story I wrote was about female circumcision. I couldn't believe when I saw a documentary back then about female circumcision, I couldn't believe what some of the women were going through with the 3 different levels of female circumcision. And so I wrote about that. And then I wrote about the environment and recycling and how important it was for recycling. And so whatever it was that I saw that upset me in some way, I would write about it, and I felt in some way I was making a difference, which I was, of course. And we didn't just go to one person, of course. Generally, when you appear in the media, even if it's your local paper or local radio, you are reaching hundreds of thousands of people just with your local media. And local media particularly are looking for news stories all the time. So massive opportunity. I also did my first media training in 2000, and I had repeated calls for more. So I actually went on to work as a journalist in TV, radio, print, right across Australia. I freelanced in magazines overseas as well. I did that for over 20 years. So I've worked behind the scenes as a journalist. I know what journalists want. They do speak quite fast sometimes, and I know sometimes I speak very fast. Hopefully you're keeping up with me. And if you miss anything, then we can come back to it at the end. But, journalists have this sense of urgency about them. And they generally go, 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 go. So the easier you can make their job with what you give them, the more they're going to absolutely love you. All right. So I have worked in all types of media, and I've had clients also through my media business in all types of media. So the strategies I'll show you today work for media right across the world. I've got clients that are in Europe, in the UK, in America, New Zealand, all over the place. So whatever media you want to get into, these strategies work for media right across the globe. These are just some of the mastheads where I've had stories, or clients have had stories in some of these places. Now, I used to freelance for Jetstar magazine, which was based in Singapore, and also Excel magazine was based in Singapore and went out to 25 countries. And then M magazine in South Africa, I used to freelance for M magazine as well. And I wrote for all sorts of different publications. So I was a freelance magazine reporter as well for many different publications. I founded my business in 2002. This is just some of the companies I have worked with in that time. Okay, so let's go through so much to cover here. These are just some of the celebrities that I have interviewed over time. And a few things these people all have in common. One is they're passionate about what they do. The second thing is they're once the world's best kept secret, and now they're stars, possibly because they're passionate about what they do, right? So are you really passionate about what you do? The third thing they all have in common is they all have someone representing them to the media. And the fourth thing is that they have toughened themselves to criticism. And this is important for you. As you put yourself out there more, you're going to have more people that love you and more people that don't. Nowadays, massive opportunity with online TV shows, online podcasts. I have Media Queen TV on YouTube. I have over 600 videos on there now, inspiring truth and good news. And I've also co-hosted Tech Webcast, which is a podcast which has had over 1 million downloads in the last 8 years. Now, what are you passionate about? My two main passions are positive media and inspiring action for animals. That's what I'm really passionate about. I created a Good News Day and a Global Good News Challenge in line with the positive media. And for the animal action work, I started the world's first Animal Action Day. And we've done 14 annual events now, raising awareness, appreciation, and respect for different animals. Now, the journey that people go on when they're looking for publicity, they start here as the world's best kept secret, then they make a start, and 50% of anything you do is just starting. And then you get some steady progress, start to get some media hits on the board, and then you shoot for the stars. You get a few major media hits, and media feed off media. So once you start to get media, you build the momentum, and before you know it, you are a star. And that's the journey. And it's important to be patient on this journey too. You may get one hit and be a superstar. Most likely, though, it takes a few hits before you really get out there to be known as the expert in your field. Now, there's certain keys to success that you do need to be a superstar, and one of them is passion. Love what you do. It's so important. And that is a way you will find your purpose as well. Bob Proctor talked about this in one of his videos about how do you find your purpose is do what you love every single day. Next thing is to package that up in a way that journalists are going to find that appealing. And then profile is really important. What happens when people Google you? Are you Googleicious? And then people, knowing the right people, everything is done on relationships. And you could be just one relationship away from things going exponential. And it could be someone even on this Zoom meeting right now. And there's a process to getting publicity as well, which I'll share with you. And then once you get the publicity, how do you then maximize that to propel your message far and wide? Now, I have an awesome media magic formula. It is in the shape of a wand. And anytime you see a wand and picture someone waving a wand around, then imagine this, the awesome formula. So the first step with your media campaign is to articulate your story. So get really clear on what is it that you want to promote. What is it, a product, a service, a message? Is it your own personal story? And your X factor is your story. When no one else has your story, okay? Or is it a cause that you want to support? What is it you want to promote? The next step after that is to work some angles around that. Media work on angles. They want new angles for media. And there's a whole art form. And then once you work this area out, is then packaging that up. And this is the elevate your profile section. The E of the awesome steps is packaging that up. You need a press release, you need some good visuals, and you need a good pitch, okay, ideally. So they're the three elements to the elevate profile. And then S is to startle the media. How do you then get the media's attention and really make a difference? Because, you know, they get pitched consistently. Every day they're getting about 500 press releases that journalists are getting, right? And a lot of them end up in the bin because they're just not relevant or they're too commercial. And then owning your power is so important. Own your power so that when you go into your interviews, you'll be able to master your interviews. And then once you do that, you get the publicity, you'll be able to explode your impact, share it far and wide, right across the mass media world. Very exciting times at the moment where you can reach literally millions of people with your message very easily now with the online media world. So that's the awesome media magic formula. I go into a lot more detail in my free publicity secrets masterclass on all of these steps. There's benefits that happen once you get publicity. First is fame. Now, you might not want to be famous like the superstars, but you might want to be famous in your industry. Now, once you're known as the expert in your industry or one of the main experts, you will then be able to earn more for what you do. People will actually come to you looking to work with you because you'll have that publicity and influence that will then make them trust you more. And trust is major nowadays. And then freedom, you'll be able to have more freedom once you have more money, and you'll be able to leave a legacy, which is very exciting. Every media spot you get, you're leaving a legacy. Now, 3 steps to publicity I will cover quickly. So your product. So when you're looking at your product, what is your awesome? What is it that when you tell people your story or what you do that they say, wow, tell me more about that? What is that for you? And you might want to brain dump a whole lot of different ideas. Now, if you look at the cost of advertising, a lot of people are just wasting ridiculous amounts of money on advertising. And I won't even bother going through all this, but when you look at, you know, how to gain over $1 million worth of publicity, well, free PR is worth 3 to 8 times more in value than what people are paying for advertising. You've got 22 times more views of stories versus ads, and yet people are wasting money on ads that are just not getting seen. Even with Facebook ads, Instagram ads, YouTube ads, except digital ads is also, they're not working as well this year as they were last year even, right? So a lot of people are just wasting money on that. And for some people it might be working, and that's great. So why free publicity? It's worth a hell of a lot more. You build credibility, trust, celebrity status, and influence. Also, you can target your message to your ideal clients with publicity, which is brilliant as well. And here, you also increase traffic, leads, and sales. So if you're looking for more business, it's a great way to go as well. 22 times more views of stories versus ads, and the media need your story. Every day they look for new stories. The opportunity is absolutely huge. And more people, as they go online with their stories, there's a bigger gap now that needs filling with the media as well. And they're really busy. Journalists are flat out. So the more you can help them and package up what you do in a way that they like it, they're going to absolutely love you. In fact, they'll keep coming back to you looking for more stories if they know that you know what you're doing, right? And if you don't know what you're doing, you could burn bridges. It could have the opposite effect, actually. So firstly, let's look at your PR campaign here. What product or service do you want to promote or sell? And you might have a heap of products that you're involved with or services. So start to brain dump that and then look at what is your story behind that. So, for example, Stephen S. is a guy known as the webinar guy. When we sat down and did a media consultation with him, we worked out 3 different angles. One was the fact that he was broke 5 years previously. Now he's a multimillionaire through webinars. How did he do that? The other angle is he created some software to automate webinars. So we had a technology angle now. And the third angle is he was doing free events across Australia and New Zealand to help offline businesses go online. Now, media can be overwhelming. Who feels like this little Tweety bird on the right here? Is this you where, it's like a whole other language with social media. There's hashtags and lols and all this kind of thing. And this Tweety bird's going, what the fudge are you talking about over here, right? Well, the beauty is for free publicity to get in the media, you need to present your message like a 14-year-old can understand it. Okay, so you want to keep your messaging very, very simple. Now, when you package up your message, you need a press release, you need some good visuals, and you need a pitch. Even for radio now, you need visuals because they're putting all their content up on social media and on their Facebook page, etc. So all media are looking for visuals and for stories. And then pitching, you've only got 45 seconds to get your pitch across to a journalist. So you need to be very succinct when you pitch to them and don't waste their time. Ideally, pitch to them in the morning, not in the afternoon because they're on deadline at that point. Now, target your message to the right media. If you know your avatar, as I imagine you possibly do, your avatar or your ideal client, then you can target media where your ideal client are consuming that media, which is very, very powerful. So you can be very strategic with your media targeting to go to the right media. Now, some campaign idea joggers for you is you can provide a unique solution for something that's already out there. These are some different ways to come up with angles, right? You could have an award angle. Have you won any awards? Controversy. Now, there's a lot of controversy in the media now around vaccines and 5G, and I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole, but this is really getting people talking at the moment, right? Mask wearing. New statistics. What are some new statistics in your area? What is getting people chatting? What's some current commentary? Now, COVID is still very current. A lot of journalists are looking worldwide on how you're dealing with COVID. What are some things you've put in place? Has anything majorly changed for you? If it has, what's changed? How you're dealing with it? All that kind of thing is still very current. The underdog. How can you support someone who is less fortunate than you or is going through a hard time? The hero angle, that's where you've overcome some kind of hardship. It might not be from zero to millionaire, but it might be that you've overcome a health challenge or some other challenge, right? And if you're a human being, you would have had some challenges in your life, right? So how have you overcome the challenges? And a celebrity angle, if you've got a celebrity support you, even if it's not a huge celebrity, then that's what we call a celebrity angle, and you'll get publicity around that. And then picture opportunity. You can have an average story, but if you have good visuals, the media will love you and you will get a better run. You will get more publicity with good visuals. So here's an example. This is Dean Vegas. He was running for mayor on the Gold Coast. He was voted the world's best Elvis impersonator. And here's an example of a photo of him in his corporate outfit and then him looking as Elvis there. Okay, so we've got two relevant photos to what we're talking about with this press release. So what the press release is saying is that if Dean made it in as mayor of the Gold Coast, he was going to stop performing as Elvis, even though he was voted the best Elvis. So these photos are relevant to the campaign. This is the start of the press release, which is a one-page document written like a story. Now, what ended up happening while we had quite a bit of traction with this and we had TV, radio, a lot of print coverage, etc. Now, Dean didn't actually make it in as mayor. However, he has been booked solidly as Elvis ever since, right? So no such thing as bad publicity. And this is a guy, this is through COVID. Last year, I worked with this doctor, a guy called Dr. Mia, who's actually based in Canada. And we put out a simple press release saying fear of COVID is making people sick, right? And then we gave it simple strategies on how people can overcome that. So lovely positive strategy, we're turning a negative into a positive. Things like breathe deeply, avoid sugar, drink plenty of water, eat plenty of fruit and vegetables, just simple messaging, right? And this ended up massive story in the local paper, which got huge coverage. It was on Channel 7. It was also on Channel 9 here. So it was all over the media. This Teresa Todd, she's a naturopath on the Gold Coast, and she was doing some empowering women courses online in line with Mother's Day. And she was also talking about how are women running businesses from home and also homeschooling their children at the time. And this was great coverage. She ended up on Channel 7. She ended up on Juice FM and a whole lot of other media as well. This is Hans Jacoby. He is a guy that came out of self-funded retirement, a property investor initially. He came out of self-funded retirement. He wanted to help people bounce back to freedom after COVID. And so he did a tour from Bundaberg to Darwin for 3 months with his wife of 41 years. And he was interviewing people about how they were dealing with COVID. And this is the idea is for it to be turned into a documentary. And this story ended up being on Channel 7, Channel 9, Triple M, ABC Radio, Northwest Star, all over the place. Some lovely photos there also to represent what he was doing in social media, and then tagging that in the media as well is important. Now, the second step to publicity I'll cover today is platform. Where do you want to go to? Which TV outlets, which radio outlets, newspapers, and magazines? Now, if you want to be strategic with your marketing, then start to ask your clients what kind of shows are they consuming, what sort of media are they consuming, and then target your message to those media outlets. The opportunity is massive. I mean, just in Australia alone, there's 1,600 magazines published just in Australia alone. Worldwide, there are literally millions of media outlets looking for stories. So massive opportunity there. It's about getting the right message to the right person at the right media outlet at the right time. And that will bring a lot of love and a lot of money your way, and you'll be able to make a bigger difference. Then when you get your coverage, make sure that you get photos, whether it's on TV, radio, or in print. Make sure you get coverage and start to promote this and build a media page for yourself as well. This is Tracy Corman from Two's Company, an online dating service, matchmaking service. And there's a half-page story that ended up in Business Acumen magazine, all about helping busy business people avoid shonky dating agencies. Now, if she paid for a half-page ad, it would have been $2,000. We said the value before, for 3 to 8 times the value is media coverage. So we'll say times 5 is the value for the actual publicity of the free story versus the paid ad. So this is worth about $10,000 for the half-page story, and she's reaching her ideal clients. This is Alan Coulton. He has a product called Root Barrier, which you put around a house, and it stops the tree roots from coming under the house and cracking the foundation of the house. So we came out with a unique solution to helping the environment with this. And he got a whole lot of free publicity because we talked about how he's helping to save the environment with this product. If we went to the media and said, we've got this product, can you promote it? They'll say, just take out an ad and pay thousands of dollars. So it's all about how you present the angle about what you do that helps the wider community. Okay, and what happened with this is it ended up with a 4-page spread in Australian Horticulture magazine to his ideal clients. It's $16,000 he would have paid for ads, publicity value, times it by 5, $80,000 publicity value, and hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of new business from his ideal clients. The third step to publicity is then profit. Now, you want to maximize your PR by capturing as much media as you can and celebrating that, tagging the journalist, tagging the media outlet, emailing out to your database, many different ways you can maximize it. This is a local filmmaker here on the Gold Coast, and just one story in the local paper led to a $200,000 funding offer for his film. And this was what we called a celebrity angle. This is the half-page story or 3/4-page story that was in the Gold Coast Bulletin the next day. This isn't even a big celebrity, but it just happened to be a celebrity that was in town at the time. Lovely, positive story about the celebrity being very enthusiastic about the Coast crime drama dream. This is a guy called Silvio Offria from Sydney. A lot of people probably never even heard of him. He was on Home and Away. You might have heard of Home and Away. This is Claire Flynn. She is a relationships and intimacy expert, a coach, and she wanted to reach more business people. This is a booming business story that went in Newland magazine. Happy relationships lead to successful businesses. 2-page story. Someone saw it who asked her to speak at an event in front of 450 of her ideal clients. Business increased 100% from one article, more inquiries and leads on a website, and she doubled her business from one magazine article. This is Paul Herman, a property investor on the Gold Coast. He appeared on Channel 9's Current Affair, Gold Coast Bulletin, ABC 2GB, and he's fighting bank fraud. So he found that the bank was fraudulent, and he was taking on the banks and arrested the banks for fraud, and was very, very out there by startling the media with what he did and got a lot of publicity. This is Aussie Mega Mall, which is purely an online business. They have stores online. And what happened with Aussie Mega Mall when they came to me in 2016, they had 875,000 products from 3,500 stores. And now in 2021, their business has 10 times increased, 8 million plus products, 32,000 plus stores. After we got publicity for them, we got them about 40 media spots in a month. And they had no publicity before that. And suddenly now they're all over TV and lots of credibility. And the TV stations came back to them seeking more comment whenever they're doing an e-commerce type story. because they're now seen as experts, right? This is Stephen Esser, who I talked about earlier. Now, a 6-minute spot we ended up for him on Sky News Business TV. A 30-second ad cost $25,000. 6-minute ad would have cost him $300,000. Publicity value, we've said 3 to 8 times value. Times 5 is $1.5 million worth of free publicity by appearing on one TV spot, and as an online marketer who does webinars, he can now say forever as seen on TV in all his marketing. Absolutely huge. So you want to celebrate your success when you get that media. As I say, make sure you gather the clippings, put these on your website, social media sites, celebrate and watch how your credibility and cash flow grows. And always thank the journalists for the job that they've done. People always like to be appreciated. There's a whole lot of PR distribution sites where you can get your message out to masses of media outlets. You can pay per email or pay for contact lists. I don't have time to go through all of this today, but there are many different options there where you can blast your message out. There's other ways to get noticed. There's a great site here called SourceBottle. I do recommend you check it out. It's a way that you can connect with journalists and bloggers directly, where they put on their types of stories and experts they're looking for. And you can actually list yourself as an expert on SourceBottle for free, and you will get notified of different media opportunities. So fantastic to check that out. This is Michelle Patterson. She's a women's empowerment coach who underwent forced adoptions. We had this press release we put out, and it was in time for National Adoption Awareness Week. And this, look, we had some interest from this, and then we changed it just slightly to this angle. Mother opens up on secret forced adoption after 30 years, and we were inundated with requests for this story by major magazines. We ended up getting an exclusive with Women's Day. So Women's Day ended up paying thousands of dollars for this story, and this is behind the scenes photos. They had a makeup and hair person that came to her Labrador unit on the Gold Coast. They had a photographer they sent from Sydney, and these are all behind the scenes photos, which were, as they say, embargoed until the actual story came out. And this is what happened. This is the 2-page spread that went in Women's Day magazine. Aussie Mum speaks out. I kept my baby secret for 30 years. Now, the beauty of this story is her business website was mentioned in the second paragraph in the second column. So right in the middle of this actual article is her business website, even though the main angle was talking about her personal story. This is Sheila Mack. She joined my Mass Media Mastery program last year. She's based in LA in America, and she had over 50 media appearances in 1 month after we worked together. So she's extraordinary, and she interviews lots of our clients. This is Kurek Ashley, who worked with Anthony Robbins. He was a success coach. He was $20 away from being broke at one point, and Kurek always wanted to be on Oprah. And what happened with Kurek with this story, it was in Excel magazine, which is based in Singapore. And this story got held over from 1 month to the next. And what happened, the 4-page spread ended up in a magazine where Oprah was on the cover. Can you imagine? He was over the moon. 4-page spread that now Oprah has in her little hands, a 4-page spread on Kurek. So fantastic, positive story there. And really that celebrity branding is massive. So how would your life be different if you were seen as the go-to person in your niche? How would that be different for you? Feel free to pop in the chat. I'm coming up to the end of the presentation shortly. And do you really want to create a change in your life? Also, do you want to charge more for your products and services? Is that you? And do you want a celebrity status and to make a bigger difference in the world? Maybe not this kind of celebrity status. Maybe you want to be known as an expert in your field so that you can earn more money and make a bigger difference. Do you want more time and life freedom? Do you want to fast track your success? Successful leaders have the courage to make action while others hesitate. Well, the fact is you're not getting any younger. I hate to break the news to you. You're not going to look as good this time next year generally as you do right now. So there's no time like the present. And hey, 1/3 of people die by the age of 65. So the sooner you can get out there, the sooner you can make a difference and inspire your family and your friends and really make the impact that you're here to make in the world. Now, I do have the Free Publicity Secrets Masterclass on Zoom, which we have a ticket giveaway coming up shortly. The next one I have is on August 18, Wednesday, at 6 till 10 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So Singapore time, that will be 4 p.m. till 8 p.m. And for Indian time, it'll be going back 3.5 hours before this. It'll be 3:30 till 7:30. I believe that's right. Like, yeah, 3:30 to 7:30. So that's the Free Publicity Secrets Masterclass coming up, which is here. And for more details on that, you can find that here at freeprSecrets.com, freeprSecrets.com. And also I have several free events that I run every month as well. This is a free one I do. I've got mass media tribe events every month that I run. And this one we have a photographer, he's known as the headshot guy. He's going to say being photogenic is teachable. So I've got him coming along. This is on August 4, 12 to 2 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So work back a few hours if you're in Singapore or India or other parts of the world, depending where you are. So that's a free event. You can come and join us on the Mass Media Tribe groups on Facebook and also on Meetup to find out more about that. And here it is here, Mass Media Tribe, come and join us. And also we have the Global Good News Challenge, which you can participate in, where you can share more gratitude and good news and lift your own energy, lift the energy of those around you. And also you'll be able to get some business out of it as well. A lot of people are getting business from doing this, although that wasn't the intention. The idea is to lift the energy on the planet. So the world is your oyster, my friends. Thank you so much for watching. I know I crammed a lot into there. This is my last slide. Shine bright. I believe in the power of one, and I believe in you. May your flame burn bright and light up all those around you. Thank you so much. I'll stop the share now. We'll come and have a look at the chat there or any questions you have.
Great.
And
Well,
pass the mic back to you.
yeah, no, thank you very much. This is all very exciting. And so, yes, we are ready to take questions. So, we've already got a question here from Karina. How do we make the journalist's job easier? By being concise?
How you make it easy is by having a well-written press release and having your visuals ready to go. Okay, so it's really important because they're going to, if you call up the media and say, I've got a great story, they're going to say, email a press release, right? And if you have a well-written press release that's written like a story that they can just copy and paste, they are going to love you for it. If they have to write the story themselves, you're giving them more work to do. Plus, there's more chances of them getting the facts wrong. And so this is where you need to know how to present the message in a way that journalists are going to like the message. And that's having a well-written press release, some good visuals, and pitching it effectively. Like, be snappy. I know I spoke fast today, but this is the kind of pace you need when you're approaching journalists because they are incredibly busy people. Okay, so you need to kind of step it up a notch or get someone else to do it for you if you're not good at the pitching side, right? Yeah, great question. Thank you.
And okay, so also wanted to check with you, like, of course, you spoke about the actual mass media, but what about social media? Like, and there is a lot more noise, which is what you had initially stated as well. Now, how do we get out there in social media? So unless, of course, you mentioned, if you're being interviewed or anything like that, put it there. But if that's not happened yet, and social media is where we are going to brand ourselves or our product or services, because that's what most people are doing. Because again, we don't want to spend a lot of money or no money. What are your tips for that?
Social media is a very interesting game right now. Facebook is not, you're not getting the same kind of reach on Facebook. What is working really well right now is Facebook groups are getting the biggest cut through. Okay, Facebook groups, doing more in the groups. With your posts, general posts and pages are not getting as much as they used to. So the best thing that's working now is Facebook groups or LinkedIn. A lot more people are going over to LinkedIn. Instagram is owned by Facebook. There's a lot of censorship in the media as well at the moment, particularly with Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, a lot of censorship. So a lot more people are now going over to LinkedIn and they're loving that a lot more. And that's where a lot of business connections are happening because 80% of people on LinkedIn are business owners or decision makers in companies. So if you want to reach a high-end group, then that's where you want to go. So that's the kind of thing that's working. And then putting posts out that are educating people on how they can help their situation what you do. So always look at how you can contribute. There's no greater service no greater purpose than being of service. Is what I'm trying to say. So being of service, always look at how you can be of service and how you can assist people with your message.
And so it doesn't have to be salesy all the time. So you're not selling, but you're actually giving away free information or help or whatever it is.
Yes, social media is about being social. So, don't just spray and pray, as they say, and keep, selling and promoting your stuff. I mean, there's definitely a place for that, but more often than not, you want to be giving good content. You want to get discussion going. Anything you can build engagement with your social media is really great. So ask questions. People love to give answers too. So ask more questions with your posts and do more visual posts. People want to see pictures and video, and more visual posts are working well in social media. Use stories, use reels if you're using Instagram, highlights, use all these. Anytime a social media platform brings out a new feature, they're going to promote it to more people. So use those features. Get your head around Instagram TV, things like that, right?
Got it. Yeah,
there's
makes
some other
sense.
tips.
Makes sense. So we have a question here. How to choose the headlines for social media or main media? Or or is this best left to specialists?
The headline, you need a good headline on your press release. In fact, your headline is crucial. So what often happens, I often leave the headline to the last point, right? I'll often just get the story down in the press release and then come back to the headline. It's really important. I showed you those two examples. The one example got some interest. The second example with the mother opens up on secret forced adoption after 30 years, that went through the roof, right? More people could relate to the mother than the coach was one example. And it's her personal story of 30 years after this forced adoption, she's now speaking up about it. So it was a really unique story, right? And I'm sure in all of your stories, you will have something unique. It might not be quite that, it might not be quite as big a story, but please don't compare yourself to others because you have uniqueness in you and there'll be something there for sure that you can share on what you do or on part of your journey.
Right. All right.
Yes,
So we
great
do have
questions.
3 people who want to drop off, and we did promise that at the end of the session. So before the end of the session, let's do that. Let's get the wheel out and let's just find who the winner of the free publicity secrets masterclass is. Let's get that first, and then we'll continue with the questions.
Okay.
Yes, wonderful. I'm happy to stay on.
I just want to know that I think I've included everybody's name. If someone is missing out, please, you could just ping me on the chat quickly. I think I've included everybody's name. If someone has just popped in.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, here you go.
This is so exciting.
Oh,
Here's the lucky.
Fiona has,
Oh, right.
but I don't think Fiona has joined in, so we'll have to.
Oh, so I thought Fiona has left the building. Okay, well,
We'll do it again.
Okay.
Do it again. Okay, here we go. Thank you for staying on. I appreciate it. And if you have any other questions after this too, feel free to reach out on my social media as well if we don't get to everyone today.
Okay. Kiran is a
Yay!
winner. Woohoo!
Congratulations. And let's just do one more for good measure. We'll do one more giveaway, one more lucky
Yeah.
person.
Okay.
Congratulations. Please reach out on social media to let me know you've won because I'm not taking notes of all this right
Don't
now.
worry,
So
we'll do
please
it. Okay.
message me. Yep, get me your details.
Sally.
Is Sally there? Yeah. Is she in here?
Hold on now. Let me see. Is Sally there? I don't think so. No.
Sally, if you're in here, quickly put on the message before we go to the next. Okay, Sally is not here.
Oh, I can't
Sally
see.
has left the
Can't see
building.
Sally.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, who's our lucky winner?
Yeah,
Okay.
Who wants to win? Who wants to win? Can we see a show of hands? Who wants to come along? It's an amazing masterclass. I'm not just saying that because I'm running it. It is intensive. If that was intensive in half an hour, imagine what I get done in 4 hours. It's people have gone to this masterclass and gone straight out and got publicity afterwards. I don't hold back on content.
All right, yay!
Namrata.
Woo! Well done. Yes. How exciting.
Yeah, is Namrata there?
She was there. Yeah.
Oh, she was. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Namrata is there.
Yay! Congratulations. Awesome.
Okay, let me just stop this now.
Well done. Well done.
Okay, great. All right. Well, we're gonna Aldwyn's agreed to stay for a little bit more. So if anybody else is, I think there was one more question by Abhilasha. I hope she's still there. She wanted to know how long, how many words should be a press release normally?
Yeah, another great question. 300 to 500 words, no more than 1 page. And there is a set format. I go into a lot more detail in the masterclass, but main things, you need a catchy headline. You need the main details of the press release at the beginning of the press release. So you need the who, what, where, when, why, how, all at the beginning. If you don't get the journalist's attention in the first few paragraphs, you lose them. They're not going to read on. So you need to get all the main details at the beginning and make sure you have your contact details at the end. A lot of people skip that point as well, in which case they miss opportunities.
Great, makes sense. Right. Does anybody else have any questions? I'm just going through the messages. Anybody has any particular questions? You can unmute yourself right now and ask Aldwyn directly as well.
Thank you. Yeah, and just unmute yourself. And you've got photos we can share on social media. We can tag each other and all of that. Yay. Excellent. Yeah, any questions at all?
So, Aldwyn, hi. Abhilasha.
Hello.
Hi. So I'm from Sydney, and I see that you have shared a lot of local media options.
A lot of local media?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think Source Bottle is a good option. I'll check it out. I've never heard of it, but
yes.
So the same spiel works with local media, as in prepare a story of 300 to 400 words, as in intro, some pictures, and
yes, all media, whether it's TV, radio, or print, want a press release. Okay, as I said earlier, you're going to increase your chances of them getting the facts right, and you're going to make their job easier for them. Even radio, because radio share the press release on their social media and on their websites. So the easier you can make it in packaging up your story, the more they're going to love you. You can get publicity without a press release. You just increase the chances they're going to get the facts wrong. And you're making their job harder for them, which means they're not going to love you as much, right? The easier you make it for them, the more they're going to love you. And 9 times out of 10, when I talk to a journalist, they say, send me a press release when you pitch your story, right? Depending on the time frame of that. So you can try and shortcut it and work around it, but you're going to do a lot better if you're prepared and you have a press release ready to go. And then you can use that press release in other online sites. There's many online sites you can also share that press release around. So you can use it in multiple different ways on your website, on online news sites, etc. So yes, I do recommend to get a good press release done. Absolutely.
You did mention about your YouTube and stuff. So do you have something about that you're sharing information about press releases, how to write, what
on
to write?
On my Media Queen TV, I go into a lot of detail and give lots of examples in my masterclass. So if you can attend the 4 hours, and you can get a recording if you can't attend live, there's a recording option there that you can watch it at your leisure. I go into a lot more detail there. I mean, really, I could do a whole day on just press releases. We could do a whole day on that, a masterclass on just press releases, right? But the main thing is just get started. Don't worry about it being perfect. Just get started with something. You're better to have something down on paper than have nothing on paper, right? You know, that even if you go to them with dot point is better than nothing. But I recommend do it as well as you can, or get some expert advice to have a really well-written press release that they can copy and paste. And as many press releases I've put out, they copy and paste it. Magazines, newspapers, radio, they've copied and pasted the exact press release word for word. And they love it because it's just saved them from doing another story. Because, for example, when I was working at the Sun newspapers, I started out in 2000, was doing 5 stories a week. By the time I left in 2005, I was doing 30 stories a week as a journalist. This is the kind of pressure that journalists are under, right? Incredible pressure, and it's getting more so that way. So easier you make it for them again, the more they're going to love you, and the more publicity you'll get.
Thank you.
Yes, great question. Thank you. Excellent. Anna.
Aldwyn, I've done your masterclass and I can vouch for it being fantastic. It's got so much information, your mind is just reeling after you finish. So I can vouch for it being well worth taking the time to go and attend.
Thank you, Anna. I appreciate that. There is a lot of content. A lot of people say, don't give all your content away, but I don't work that way. I like to give you as much as I can. And if you want extra support, there's options to work with me further if you want to, right? That's just how I work. And many people have gone straight out and got publicity after just attending the masterclass, you know, so you don't have to pay thousands of dollars to a PRA and learn the strategies that I'm teaching you as a journalist, having worked in the media, and you can do it yourself. The thing is, though, will you do it yourself? 90% of people won't do it themselves. There are some that will, but, you know, most people get back to their normal life and they don't end up doing it. But, you know, if you are an action taker and you act on what I teach you, I guarantee you will get publicity. In fact, I'm the only company I know of that guarantees publicity with what I do. That's how confident I am with what I do. And it's all about how are you helping the wider community and how you're packaging that up in a way that journalists are going to love it.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And I'm sure Thank you. And I'm sure lots of people have lots of other questions, but we have shared Aldwyn's details in the chat group. So feel free to reach out to her with your questions. Over to you, Shikha.
Thank you, Aldwyn. It was such an amazing session, sharing these, amazing publicity secrets with us and how we can do it without spending a fortune. I've already shared Aldwyn's details in the chat session, so please make sure you save the link before you end the session. I would like to share our next event, which is on 11th of August. And fortunately, Cal, who is our guest speaker, is here with us. And Cal, would you like to say hi? And we're going to be talking about mindful living, living in a moment. So that's going to be the topic. Cal, you want to say 2 words before we leave?
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Shikha, for that. Lovely to be here. Amazing presentation, Aldwyn. Before I go on to mindfulness, next week we will be having that story, that personal niche to to your own selves that you can connect to, especially with the COVID times. It's about mindful living. And while social media is great for advertising, great for putting yourself out there, it's also great for distractions.
Great.
It's for losing yourself. So how do we stay grounded in today's media-centric world? How do you stay grounded in today's COVID-centric world? Again, with all those news out there and everyday personal news coming to your phone as well. That is what we will be dealing with next week on the 11th of August. So please do come, stay tuned to see how you can stay grounded, how you can enjoy every single moment, every single day.
I will be sharing the link of next event, and you please go and register for the event. I'm sure you don't want to miss this opportunity. Thank you, Cal, and we'll definitely see you next time. And before we go, I would definitely like to thank our sponsors, GFC, who has been a big supporter of our events, and they have always, supported our women empowerment in all our events that we have been doing. So thank you so much. Without them, these sessions wouldn't have been possible. So thank you for today. I hope you have shared all the links that we have shared with you. I've shared Aldwyn's link. We have shared our contact details. In case you wish to leave your contact details, please do so. So thank you again. We hope to see you all for the next one. And until then, take care and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you. And save the chat.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Have a great evening.
And congratulations.
Thank you, Shikha, Nira. Bye-bye.
All right.
Congratulations to all the authors, by the way. My voice. Congratulations. Awesome. Can't wait to see it.